Hey guys, welcome to another video. Thanks for joining me in this one. In this video, I just want to share my journey with you as I've been able to move through, my training and working for an airline in the United States. I've actually gotten a question about this, at how did I get to work in the United States, or how did I get my job in the United States? And I just want to share that with you in this video. Thank you to you guys that have subscribed to this channel, and thanks for, watching my videos. Thanks for dropping the likes on the video. I hope that you guys find value in these videos. If you're familiar with my story, you know that I've shared how I started my training back in 2010. I went through, my program at the flight school here in the United States, and currently I'm an airline captain in a regional airline in the United States. Now, let me give you a quick background to how I've been able to work my way to the regionals. Just to make something clear, I'm not an immigration expert and I won't be able to tell you the details of each type of visa, but I'm going to tell you the visa I had when I started here. When I started my training, I had the M1 visa and I had to change to an F1 visa, because with an M1 visa, which is a vocational type of visa, vocational training visa, you wouldn't be able to work with that type of visa. Now, of course, the rules could have changed, so always look into the details if you are trying to apply, to come to the United States for training. But I'm just sharing my own experience and my own knowledge. So what happened was I started with an M1 visa and I transitioned to an F1 visa. If you want to apply to study in the United States, not all schools will provide F1 visa for you. So you need to make sure you understand these differences before you go for an interview at a embassy. The other thing you need to also understand is that when I got here with my M1, I couldn't switch over to F1. Okay, if you have to switch your visa type or your documents or your paperwork, you will have to go out of the country and then come back in again, which is very expensive and takes time. It slows down your training, so you need to keep those things in mind. So the best thing I can advise is to have an F1 from the beginning. Now, if you have an M1 and you're already in the United States, of course, you can always change it, or you might need to change school because not all schools will offer F1, like I already mentioned. I had the M1 initially, and when I started my master's program in 2012, that was when I was able to change to F1 visa type. Now, this is again very important to keep in mind, because the only reason I was able to change was because I changed school and my program changed. But the benefit of having an F1 is that you're able to work, and you're able to work part-time and get paid based on that. So that was when I was able to work as an instructor and get paid for teaching other people. Now I'm going to fast forward now into 2015. I still had my F1 and I was still able to work, because with an F1, even after you complete your program, they have what they call an OPT. Pretty much you're able to work part-time after you've completed your program in the field of study that you majored in, which I was able to do that and get paid in that process. Now, from transitioning from that flight school environment into the airlines is often difficult, because not all airlines are going to take you with F1 type of visa. Of course, they're never going to consider you with an M1 visa, but at least they can consider you for employment with an F1 visa. However, your F1 visa also has limits because it expires after some time. So you also need to keep that in mind. Luckily, for some people that I know personally, they got their work authorization through the job that they got with the airlines. The reason why this happened is because the airlines were struggling for airline pilots. They had a shortage, a massive shortage at the time, so they had no choice but to file for these people. But you have to remember that airlines will prefer not to have to deal with immigration. They will prefer to hire people that already have their documents straight, and they won't have to spend that extra money or spend that extra time to sponsor any other person. So, but for me, I got married back in 2015, so I was able to get sponsored through, marriage. It's very important that to keep that in mind, that that's another way for a lot of people to, transition from a student visa to a permanent resident. But again, you have to do your due diligence to see what works for you. The other way that people also get sponsored is through the flight school. For example, if you can stay with the flight school for some time and you have good records and they like you there, the flight school might choose to sponsor you and provide, your work authorization for you. This process is always expensive, and not all flight schools will do this, but it's just a way that some flight schools tries to compensate their instructors, the good ones, because they generally don't have, experienced, good instructors around. So in order to hold those people and keep them much longer, they sponsor them. So these are the ways that a lot of people also transition. So from like an F1 to like an H1 visa, and then, finally transition to becoming a permanent resident. If you're just planning to come to the United States to get your training done and go back to your home country, then that's also an option. That is obviously possible, because a lot of people do that. They come for their training and they go back. And that's why the F1 and F1 are very good type of visas to have. With the F1, you can work temporarily while you're here, and then once you're done with your training and your visa is up or expired, then before it expires, you have to leave to go back to your country. So these are the things that you just need to keep in mind. I hope that I've been able to answer some of your questions, or at least give you some insight. I haven't gone into details in this video, but I hope that at least you've been able to get a few ideas here and there. Well, that's all I got for you. I hope that you've liked this video, and I hope to see you in my next one.